This program is brought to you by thepodcastfactory.com.
Hi, my name is Igor Kheifets, and this is the List Building Lifestyle, the only podcast which delivers cutting-edge conversion strategies from the online trenches straight to your earbuds. Download the transcript of today's episode and all future episodes at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com. I also invite you to grab a free copy of the Wealthy List Builder Survival Guide at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com/survival. And now, once again, it's time to claim your list building lifestyle.
Welcome back to another edition of List Building Lifestyle with the king of list building, Mr. Igor Kheifets.
Hey there, Jonathan. How you doing, man?
I'm always excited to talk to you because you take us on weird journeys that are always interesting and enlightening. So I can't wait to see what you have in store for us today.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going for. You know, I just want to be entertaining, useful, contradicting sometimes as well, just so you don't get too comfortable. So it can be like, wait a second, just like this was the thing that really got to me when I was just starting out. I would listen to this guru say this one thing, and then I would listen to the same guru say something a year later, and it's like completely contradicting to what he just said. I was like, what is he talking about? It doesn't make any sense. Until then, I discovered the concept of duality, which of course means that you can't be weak if you can't be strong unless you're weak. You can't be rich unless you're poor and stuff like that. It's a whole Zen concept. So basically, I discovered that the world isn't black and white. There's lots of gray areas. And so, yeah, well, I don't even know why I told you that, Jonathan. We should just get on with the program.
Well, I'm sure there was something there that you were setting up, because in like 5 episodes, you're going to contradict whatever you say today.
Okay, sounds good. So, I'm a big, Kennedy fanboy, Dan Kennedy. And this is not contradicting. I've been open and honest about being a Kennedy bitch for ever since I started this business, and I believe that a lot of my success has to do with me using, the Kennedy mechanics in my business. So I was just rereading one of his books, and I just cut out this piece, which I want to read to you, which is so profound. It is so mind-blowing. It gave me a boner as soon as I read it, and I just had to read it to you. So
a business boner.
Yeah, a business boner. So then Kennedy says, a business is a bucket in which alchemy is to occur. Into the bucket, we pour ideas, energy, work, ad dollars, marketing dollars, costs of attracting customers, costs of pursuing sales in hope of stirring into profits, maybe wealth. Most business owners are very focused on the pouring into the bucket process. Few focus on exactly what happens inside the bucket. That's supposed to take care of itself, but it doesn't. It's important to have a full and accurate understanding of the investments being made. It's then important to have a strategy in place for fully and comprehensively converting those investments to the greatest possible gains. They just join a program and they think, that's how it basically shows up in our marketplace, right? What I'm seeing is that people just join a program. That's all they do. They just join a program and they buy some tools and they buy some traffic, and then they sit there and just wait for something to happen. So the focus, there's so much focus on the buying and the tools and the resources that there's no focus whatsoever on the person running the business and on what's going on with all those tools and the strategies and the resources.
All right, first question, Igor. What book or what product, where did you get this little tidbit of information?
I got it in Dan Kennedy's No BS Direct Marketing for Non-Direct Marketing Businesses. It's a book.
Boom. Okay, so books are good. And the reason I'm asking is because you've inspired me. We talked about it on a few episodes ago, maybe longer, I can't even remember. But I asked if you bought info courses, if you bought any of that stuff, and you said, no, you invest in people. So I've made it a point, and I'm putting it out there to you because I know you'll hold me accountable, and to the list builders. No new software this year and no info products for the entire year.
That's right. Just some books and some porn.
Books and porn. That's
it. Books and porn. That's business the wisest investment. Books, porn, and real estate. That's the 3 things every marketer should invest in.
Yes. So let's talk about this a little bit, and let's unpack it. Why do people think that the tools and the traffic are all they need to do?
Well, this comes down to this. Have you heard the saying, you can't be a great carpenter with lousy tools? or
Yeah,
something
of
like that.
course.
It makes sense when you first hear it, but the reality is you can and you will, and the tools don't make you. There's a great story about the Paganini. I think he was the violin guy, right? So Paganini, before one of his shows, he was pacing back and forth behind the curtain, and his manager, kind of walked up to him and said, "Hey, it's 5 minutes left. You're about to go on stage. Where's your violin?" And Paganini, he just turned around, went into some room, walked out with a violin, got on stage, and killed it. He got a standing ovation. Everybody was excited. Women in the crowd were crying. I mean, he came back, he came backstage, and his manager's like, well done, my friend. But why were you nervous before the show?" And Paganini says, "Well, I couldn't find my Stradivarius, so I had to use some other guy's, lousy violin." So he was upset about it. And I understand him, right? If I don't get my my MacBook working in the morning, I will probably be upset. But I can easily grab another computer and work my magic. Just like Paganini could grab almost any violin and play it like a god. So people have this belief that to be a good carpenter, you need great tools. The reality is, no, you do not. You really do not. You can be a great carpenter with lousy tools. Sure, the process will be a bit more difficult for you, but hey, you can still produce incredible work. In fact, there are professionals in their fields that are sticking to the same tools they started out with, simply because they're used to them and they can't, work with the brand new digital, gadgetry that, well, all the professionals use right now.
Gosh, there's industry built on equipping internet marketers with tools. And I kind of think that they want you to keep buying tools and not actually doing work.
Maybe they want. I mean, in and of itself, going around buying things can keep you busy for a while, right? Until you realize your hard drive is full of stuff and your bank balance is minus, is negative $2,000 at the beginning of each month, and you're not moving forward in your business. I started my business having very little tools. I think I was spending money exclusively on my autoresponder, on my MLM opportunity, and I think the hosting. Yeah, hosting and the domain name. These were the expenses. Everything else I tried to get for free or build up with my time or, but point being is that I've always built my business from a standpoint of I spent the least amount of money required, okay, in order to make the most money. And what's missing, I will kind of fill with either my time or my skill set, which is exactly what happened. When I didn't have money to buy advertising with, or like I did have some money, but really not enough. Like I wouldn't be able to afford to buy traffic for myself these days. But back in the day, even $80 or $100 was a lot of money to me. Let's not forget I grew up in Israel, right? So every dollar hurt 4 times as much, and the paychecks are different here. So investing as little as $100 into my business was a nightmare. It was not only so, really scary, but also like to come up with that sort of money for me was a problem. So what I've done is I got so good at copywriting that I made my ads pay me back. So, in other words, I didn't go around hoping that the traffic I'm purchasing is going to be magically, it's going to be so great and so magical and so incredible of quality that it will just make sales because it's awesome traffic. Never, ever, ever it crossed my mind that traffic will convert simply because it's good traffic. I knew that even with great traffic, I still have a lot of work to do to convert the prospect into a buyer. But for some reason, many of the customers that come buying traffic from me, especially the super frustrated ones that are buying from, going from one source to the next for literally years, they still don't get it. They still don't get this one idea that your tools don't make you.
Now, do you think that it actually harms some people coming into the business that have that extra capital because then they can just freely spend it without getting that ROI you're talking about?
Well, I didn't know what the hell's going on through their heads, Jonathan. Honestly, we could only speculate about that. All I know is they're not doing it right. So doesn't matter if you got large capital or small capital or no capital at all. Whatever you're thinking that's going to save you, right? Whatever the tool or the resource or the traffic source that's going to save you, it ain't going to save you. It is just not going to happen unless you work with it to save yourself. That's my point.
Yeah, it goes back to last episode, that personal accountability. This is another one of those extensions. No, it's not God, but it's the hammer. Now you're looking at the hammer for the answers, and really it's not the hammer that has the answer. It's the man swinging, or the woman, Bob or Jane, swinging the hammer that has the answer.
Exactly. And this industry especially, I'm not sure about other industries. Like I never like sold precious metal, never went to Wall Street, right? But when it comes to marketing online, when it comes to marketing business opportunities, when it comes to marketing your services as a coach or a consultant, there's no one that's more responsible for that business than you. And it doesn't come down to just making the buying decisions in your business and refreshing your stats every day. It's way, way, way more than that. It's in the position you create for yourself. It's in the offers you put out. It's in the content you're putting out. It's in your ability to create rapport. It's in your ability to spot opportunities and capitalize on those opportunities rather than just sit on your ass and think what if. Right? It comes down to a lot of things, and I think we've had the episode where we spoke about people looking for the one thing that's going to change everything. Of course, there's no such thing. There's no one thing, right? There's no one thing that's going to make you healthy. There's no one thing that's going to make you rich. There's no one thing that's going to make your marriage work, right? But that's the human nature. The world is so complicated that we always look for the one thing. That's why people go buying one shiny object after the next, because they hope for that next shiny object to be the one thing that's missing. When in reality, the one thing that's missing is them getting real and starting taking more personal responsibility for their successes and failures.
Accountability, baby. It is lost in today's world for some reason.
Well, I think this just sounds like the exact rerun of the previous episode, Jonathan. It's the government.
Well,
it's the government.
Driving the point home, right? It's God, it's the government, it's everybody else but you. So, Igor, if you were, it doesn't matter if you're just starting out or if you've been doing this for years, let's think about the ingredients going into that bucket. What would be like, could we break it down into 3 ingredients that people must have, or is it more than that? Because you started your business with only a few things, so maybe you can shine some light on this for the list builders.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the first ingredient is going to be your offer, right? If the offer has to be the most incredible, no-brainer offer this marketplace has ever seen. And it also has to be a little bit different, right? And there's, of course, a whole science behind creating offers that work that you should look into. But the offer is about 30% or so from the total equation for success with your business. And when I say success, I mean making a full-time income, right? Because if we want to take it from a 4-figure to a 6-figure income, we have to talk about a bunch of other elements. But right now, let's just focus on taking somebody who's not making anything and been struggling for a while to making something. So the first thing is going to be an irresistible offer that is not only so good, but also seems like not the exact same thing that the prospect has been pitched yesterday. The second element is, of course, the market, right? Exposing your offer to the right people, to the exact match for the customer. And third, I would say it's positioning. Positioning that you've got in the marketplace. So by the time the customer wants to join you in business, they can research you and find out that you are a respected and credible authority in that field. Either you are, or at least you appear to be that way, which is just the same. It's pretty much the same thing.
Wow. That's it? That's all I need?
Well, I wanted to keep things simple. Of course, if you give me the permission, we can sit here for the next 13 hours. I can lay down the blueprint. But of course, that's not going to help anyone because it's going to be too overwhelming. And by the time I'm done describing the first, out of the 13 or 16 elements, people will get bored and leave because they're going to buy from somebody who says no, it's just one thing. But yeah, if you kind of just bring it down to just 3 things, you can narrow it down to having a great offer, putting it in front of the right prospects, and having that right positioning for the prospects to feel comfortable to make the buying decision. It could come down to just 3 of those to start making money. If you wanted to take that to the next level, of course, we can talk about systems. We can talk about hiring the right people for the right positions. We can talk about, creating upsells and cross-sells. And so there's plenty of us talk about. The point is there's no one thing that will ever make you successful. And there's no combination of tools and resources that you're purchasing right now that in and of themselves just going to magically create a business for you. Not going to happen. You need to put way more focus into using and connecting all these tools, resources, and software that you're purchasing right now into one this one giant ball or, entity or a mess, if you will, right, that will create the results you're looking for. Because just pouring stuff into the bucket doesn't help. You have to make it work in the bucket. So in other words, here's a great example. So if we were, like going back to the alchemy example, we can take all the ingredients, right? We can just take all the right ingredients from the list, but then we have to prepare that thing in the bucket according to the recipe in the right sequence, with the right amounts, with the right timing. And if we get one of these things wrong, it won't be exactly what we're looking to create.
So, Igor, you mentioned it earlier, and just want to circle back. So there's so many different directions that the list builders could go. And you mentioned that you really studied copywriting, and that was your basis for everything. Now, would you recommend that's where the list builders start out? Would it be copywriting? Would it be direct response marketing? What would be a place where they could focus their attention on the underlying strategies so that they could get those three components they need?
The reason I went into copywriting because I understood that every dollar that I will ever make in this business will come from another person, which meant I had to get really good at understanding people and manipulating people, if you will. I know that a lot of people don't like this word manipulation, but that's exactly what you're doing when you're selling, when you're trying to get your child to eat broccoli, when you're trying to get your wife to lose weight, when you're trying to even get yourself to get out of bed and get your ass to work. Right? You're always manipulating something or somebody. And if you're not, then you're being manipulated by something or somebody. So I realized that if I wanted to become successful in this business and in most other businesses, I had to get really good at people. And the one, I guess, area of marketing that focuses on people, or in other words, the prospect, right? The ideal customer that we want to attract, is copywriting. It taught me the basics of how I need to communicate in order to get people to like and trust and just buy from me. Of course, later on, I took it to the next level by getting deeper and deeper understanding of the human psychology, which of course translated into better sales, better offers. And of course, this podcast is based entirely on that. I mean, the reason we started the podcast, because I recognize that people are not where they want to be, people are not where they should be, and to kind of bring this information out to the light. So yes, copywriting was the skill set I went for because I knew that without it, even if I had the best product, I couldn't necessarily put the best offer together. The one that's the most, no-brainer, the most exciting, the one that makes the most sense for the customer. And from that point forward, everything was governed by direct response marketing and copywriting. Even to this day, every dollar I spend, I make an effort to make sure it's a measurable and testable dollar that is producing at least some sort of, return. And not just throw money at a wall hoping that something sticks.
All right, so we're coming close to the end, but I'm going to ask one last question on behalf of the list builders. If there was one copywriting book that they should read right now, what would it be?
Dan Kennedy's The Ultimate Sales Letter System.
Boom. I knew it was going to be Kennedy.
Of course it's going to be Kennedy. Come on.
Come on, what are you thinking? All right, so good stuff, Igor. Thank you, as always, for sharing your insights with us. Thank you, list builders, for tuning in, and we will be back with you next time.
Thank you for listening to The List Building Lifestyle. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes or Google Play to never miss an episode. Because who knows, just one conversion tactic we share on the show might double your list and double your business. Download the transcript of today's episode and all future episodes at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com. And don't forget to claim your complimentary copy of the Wealthy List Builder Survival Guide at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com/survival. This is Igor Kheifets, and until next time we talk, have a good one.
This is the podcastfactory.com.